Hey guys, Jonah here. It's another Monday and I'm in need of a beer. I'm going to do the last one from the Midlands box because the new box has come along. And we are off to Stoke-on-Trent here to see these guys, Rural, oh, I don't know if you can see them, Rural Brewing. Um, and that's it because there's not an article on those bad boys. So let's show you the can. It is a dark beer. It is this one. Uh, Crafted in Alton, the home of adventure, Rural Brewing Fireside Stout at 5.5% on the ABV, which is pretty good. And we have some information here. It says made for the moments after, crafted for the adventure and nature lovers. Rural Brew captures the essence of triumphant moments. Our beers brewed with passion and the finest ingredients, etc., etc. That's about them. Meticulously brewed, this stout has present a velvety, rich chocolate experience that enlivens the senses, reminiscent of sitting by a fireside on a frosty winter's evening. Rural Brew over in Alton, Staffordshire. There's some stuff over here, but I don't want to tip it because it'll go all, when I open it, it'll explode. Maybe I'll have a look at that. Oh no, there we go. So chocolate, roasted molasses, smells like coffee, toast, licorice, and it's black. It's got some oats in it, it's got some wheat in it, all that good stuff. And the hops in here, if I remember rightly, are Sabro hops. Doing that magic thing that people do, tap the top of the can. It does work as well. It kind of gets all the bubbles out of suspension. Ooh. This one, like I usually do with the dark beers, has not been near the fridge. Sometimes I do put them in the fridge, but this time I didn't. We have the tulip glass, as it were. I'm going to go for a semi-aggressive pour. See if we can get some head onto this bad boy. We've got some wheat and oats in there. Wow, I've done well with that. I've got a feeling that will fast disappear. But for my aggressiveness, that's what, 2 fingers head. It's a bit like a honeycomb, isn't it? It's quite a dark head, but dark and fluffy. Look at it. You can see it all bursting. So what I might do, a bit of a swirlage, just to settle that head off a little bit for the photo that I'm going to take. So rural, get my, people always says it's out of focus, but there we go. That's in focus. Oh, it's gone out of focus again. Oh well. What can you do, dear Via? What can you do? So definitely get some dark, kind of gritty, dirty kind of toffee. This thing that seems to be an American thing, filthy fries and dirty burgers. It's like, what the hell? But this does smell a bit dirty. Oh, and I'm getting that sweetness. I don't know if it's toffee, but I'm getting a kind of sweet, a caramelly kind of thing. Cracked cinder toffee, perhaps, or what's that really gnarly kind of fire toffee, whatever it is. Fireside toffee, perhaps. But it's all kind of stuff to do with the malt. I'm getting a bit of coffee, maybe some bitter chocolate, that kind of stuff. Not really getting much of the hops, but with a dark beer, you don't tend to, unless it's a black IPA or something gnarly like that, which I actually really like those kind of style beers. But they are little to be found these days. Anyway, cheers and beers. If you haven't done so already, think about subscribing to the channel. Please click like, especially if you do like the video. It really does help me out. So don't even think about it. Just click like now. I'm sure you'll like this. Bottoms up. Ooh. So initially went down really sweet. Then we had some bitterness, and it was like bitter kind of coffee or bitter chocolate. Then it went into lighter coffee. So perhaps that creaminess that I usually get from a mixture of oats and wheat. Um, it's like adding cream to your coffee. It makes sense. Um, and we have got very, very sort of selfishly fat line. And it looks like there's kind of animals running around the side of my glass, turning into, what's that look like? A sort of marlin or a bottlenose dolphin, perhaps? I don't know. And then we go back to some sort of stork, or perhaps like a yeah, dodo, perhaps on the side of the glass here. If you're new to the channel, I do what's called Foam Watch, and this is a very nice amount of foam. Dr. Charlie Bamforth would be really impressed by the amount of foam here, especially if I wax lyrical about certain football teams. But alas, I'm not going to do that. It's going for some more. This is really interesting. It has got a sweet edge, a toffee edge, caramel edge. I'm wondering what that's from, because I don't think there's any lactose in there. Maybe they've added a tiny bit, but yeah, definitely some residual sweetness. Maybe they finished the fermentation uh, deliberately high just to get a bit more sweetness in there. Oh, yeah, it's still in there. That burntness is in there too. Um, yeah, it's quite astringent, the burntness in there, and perhaps even like a touch of spice or something, like like a cinnamony thing, or perhaps a licorice thing. Um, but yeah, it's a bit too sweet for me. And if it says, and I'm reading the thing here, it doesn't have lactose in it, that means this sweetness is actually sugar, unfermented sugar, and that's bad for me with my crazy diabetes. And I'll be probably lying on the floor later on. But dear viewer, you have my attention, so hopefully you're enjoying this video so far. Um, I've had quite a few sweet stouts, including that Mars Bar ridiculous Imperial Stout at 15.5%. And this one's 5%, or 5.5, I should say. There's nowhere near that. And I had a Tartarus beer not that long ago, and that was like 6.5, 7%, something like that. And I think for those sweeter kind of beers, you need to have a little bit more kind of strongness in the alcohol. Pardon me, the higher ABV, if you like, purely because, I mean, 5.5 is nothing to be sniffed at, but it's not quite high enough to warrant such a kind of sweet, cloying, um, yeah, beer. Let's finish her off and see what we can do. Whoa, yeah, that bitterness is coming through now. So I guess my taste buds have got used to that sweetness, or perhaps as I went down the bottom of the glass, the sweetness was sticking around the top and the bitterness was at the bottom. But yeah, ooh, really dark, dirty kind of gravel, um, coffee grounds. Um, but there is that sweetness there too. Um, all a little bit overpowering. I guess if you're using the analogy like they have, that this beer is a fireside beer, um, I would say sometimes when you're sitting by an outdoor fire, you get smoke in your eyes, and you get dirt in your nostrils and into your lungs, and sometimes it's hard to sleep after such things. Depending what you're burning, obviously, you might be burning nice clean pieces of wood, but sometimes people put untoward things into your fire and plastic things, and noxious smoke comes up. And unfortunately, that is what this beer is. It's a bit noxious. It's a bit kind of those evil kind of smoky things that come up. Anyway, I'm glad I tried it, but alas, not for me this one. I think probably out of five of I'll probably go 2.5, I guess. It's not bad, but the bitterness is too extreme, and the sweetness to try and balance. Perhaps they've done that on purpose, or maybe even back sweetened this beer because of that gnarly bitterness. Either way, you don't quite have that mix. You have either too sweet or too bitter, and they're kind of fighting each other as opposed to having a nice mellow, sweet kind of stout. This one's, yeah, not good in my opinion. Anyway, it's Monday. There's plenty more days in the week, and I'm actually going off to do some judging at the Ealing Beer Festival. So if you're there, please say hello. If you recognise me, I'll probably be the one sitting there drinking thirds or halves or the smallest portion that they do, so I can drink as many beers as I possibly can. Anyway, this has been your loving Uncle Jonna. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and remember, I will be back with another beer review real soon.